Hi friend, back pain doesn't have to hold you back from enjoying your time with your grandkids or living your life to the fullest. In this marathon videos, I'm sharing exercises, quick tips, and posture fixes that will help you build strength, ease pain, and move with confidence. Plus, there are timestamps in the description so you can easily find what you need and revisit it anytime. So let's dive in. First, let's focus on strengthening your back to eliminate pain. These exercises are perfect for grandparents who wants to move with ease, whether it's bending, lifting, or playing with the little ones. Ready to get stronger? Let's get started. One of the most common causes of back pain for grandparents is picking up their grandkids. Imagine you're here at the Palace of Fine Arts on a family vacation and you pick up your grandkid and ouch, you hurt your back. In this video, I'm sharing movement principles on how to strengthen and avoid back pain so that you can still enjoy your vacation and playtime with your grandkids. One of the principles of Pilates is the breathing. So I'm gonna have you lay down on your back and just be aware of your breath. Try to not to change anything and just keep your eyes closed and just observe your breath. Are you breathing into your belly, or are you breathing into your chest, or are you breathing in your neck? You could put your one hand on the chest, one hand in your belly, and just to try to be aware and observe what's moving first. And in my case, I feel more my belly going up and down. So in Pilates, we want to breathe through the side of our ribs. So we gotta inhale in our nose, then exhale with our mouth with pursed lips. So I'm gonna put my hands on my ribs. So inhale into your nose, then exhaling with your mouth. So I should feel my ribs opening up as I inhale, then exhale. And some of us, maybe it's hard for us to feel the movement, or it's hard for us to redirect the air. And another way of doing this type of breathing is by in a seated position with your body draped over your thighs. Your hands are on your shins. So in this position, it kind of forces your abdominals to be compressed. So it's going to force the air not to your belly, but to the side of the ribs. So as you can see in my ribs, it's going to expand as I breathe in. Inhale. Then exhale. So you should feel these ribs expand. And exhale. So try to be aware of not lifting your shoulder, like when you don't elevate your shoulders. So try to breathe more down to the lower lobes of your lungs. That's more of an efficient way of breathing. The tendency is when we sit most of the time, like most of our jobs are in a seated position, we tend to develop a dysfunctional breath pattern. So our diaphragm, instead of going down as you breathe in to go to the lower lobes of our lungs, it goes up. So instead of using 80% of your capacity, you're only using 50%. So this corrects your breath pattern. And one benefits of breathing in this manner is it activates your deeper core muscles. So it's sometimes with people, when we talk about core, we think about crunches, but that's just the top layer of your core, which is your abdominals, your obliques. The core muscles that we want to activate is the one closer to the spine, the local stabilizers, we call it. So it's activated with breath. So I'm going to pretend to cough. I'm going to put my hand on my belly. So like, see my belly moves as I breathe, as I cough. So that's the muscle that we're trying to activate. So when you exhale deeply, so watch my belly, what happens when I exhale. Then exhale. So that muscle is like a saran wrap. It's pulling all the organs in. So it's activated with my breath. So again, inhale. Watch my belly. Exhale. So if you want a narrow waistline, this is how you breathe. Is during inhale. Then exhale. So we're trying to bring the air to the deeper lobes of our lungs. And as you exhale, and try to exhale all the air from your lungs. And so there'll be movement, movement in your Pilates movement. So you're gonna coordinate your breathing. So another principle of Pilates is the pelvic placement. So this is our pelvis, and the pelvis is you could flatten your back, arch your back, and flatten your back, arch your back, and find somewhere in between. If I put a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, it's not going to spill. So you want to be level, and that's called neutral spine. And you'll feel that natural curve. You're not sticking out your ribs or jamming your back. It's somewhere in between. This is your pelvis. So this should be flat. And this is the most shock absorbing for your spine. So whether standing, sitting down, or laying down. So one test I do, whether you have, if your core is working properly, as I pick up my leg, then lower. So I breathe in with the lift, and try to feel which muscle do you feel first. Do you feel your core, or do you feel your legs? And some of us, maybe we feel it more in our legs and our hips. So what it's telling me is your core is not activating properly. So ideally, when you pick up your leg, your core has to engage first, not your legs. And if you want to go deeper and learn more how to strengthen your core, just click on the next video later on. So that's the pelvic placement. And also, there'll be exercises that we have to raise our arm and all that. So you want to keep most of your ribs down to the mat. So I don't want you to stick out your butt. So stick out your ribs, because when you stick out your ribs, you're not stable that way. So you want most of your ribs down on the mat while keeping your pelvis neutral. So let's say when I raise my arm, and I'm gonna bring it as far as I can. So if I'm arching my back, so that's too much. So you want to be stable in your ribs. See, my ribs is still flat on the roller, on the mat. So I'm gonna raise my arm. So I'm keeping the connection in my obliques. So the obliques connects to the lower rib, to your pelvis. So I'm keeping that stable so I don't pop my ribs. Next is the shoulder. So shoulder, it lacks any bony attachment to the spine, so it kind of moves around. So as you can see, I'm doing it in a seated position. So there's two bones in our back, and if I palpate those bones, it should be like a letter H. And some of us are like a letter A, or some of us are a letter V, but that's rare. But that means it's just unstable. So one of the goal of Pilates is to stabilize the shoulder, make sure it's in a proper placement. Since most of our work in our society we tend to do everything in our front, and we tend to be short in our muscles in our chest, and it forces our shoulders to be rounded. So this is one of the movements of the shoulder. So it elevates the shoulder. Then neutral, then it depresses the shoulder, it protracts, it retracts, then it rotates up, and it rotates down. So those are 6 movements of the shoulder blades. And sometimes we have muscles that tend to be overworked, and most of them tends to be the trapezius muscle. And since when we have dysfunctional breath pattern, these are secondary breathing muscles. We tend to breathe very short, narrow breath, and we overwork those muscles. Okay, so that's one of the goals of Pilates, is to stabilize the shoulders. Next is the neck, cervical. So the cervical is, make sure when you're laying flat, you're not arching your neck like this. So that puts a lot of compression in your neck. So your eye gaze should be straight to the ceiling. And so if you have a forward head, you can even reach your head down to the floor. So that means there's a lot of compression in your neck. So we need to create more space. Maybe there's some tightness in your chest. So if you want to go in depth on how to create mobility in your cervical area, just click on my video. Next. So try to lift your head and let me know how you feel. Do you feel more in your neck, or do you feel more in your stomach? So if you feel more in your neck, that means you're not activating your core correctly. So you tend to use your neck to lift in this position rather than, especially when we do abdominal workout, we tend to strain. We look at the ceiling like this. So it's already, you can see the strain in my neck. So it shouldn't be strained, it should be like this. My eye gaze should be on your knees. Okay, so the last principle I want to show you is just your feet, and our feet is very important for balance. So one of my problems with my feet is this foot tends to collapse this way. So that means my muscle here, my peroneals are weak. So think of the feet like a tripod. Focus on your big toe, your pinky, and your heel is like a tripod, and make sure it's evenly balanced. So you're not here, you're not putting. So just standing, just be aware. Are you putting more weight in the front of your foot, or are you putting weight on the back of your heel? Or are you putting more weight in the inside of the foot, or are you putting more weight in the outside of the foot? Or even just standing right here, keep your eyes closed, and try to feel, do you feel more weighted on the right side of your leg, or weighted on the left side of the leg? So your feet, the stability of your feet is very important, because whatever happens here, it happens upstairs. It's going to affect your knee, your hip, your back. So if you don't have proper mobility in your ankle, you're going to have problems up there. So one problem is maybe find yourself to do a squat. So if you can you squat with your feet straight, with your arms up, and go down a slow, try to break parallel. So if you find yourself doing this and you're becoming a duck, that means you have very tight soleus muscle. So we need to create more space there. So if you want to learn more about how to improve your stability and balance by strengthening and stabilizing your feet. Now let's tackle those moments when pain creeps in, like when you're picking up your grandkids. So in this video, you'll learn quick and effective ways to relieve back pain so you can stay active and present with your family. Did you hurt your back picking up your grandkids? One common cause of back pain is your hips is not level. So in this video, I'm going to show you a quick fix how to alleviate your back pain. The first thing I want you to do is to find a stick, maybe a broomstick or a pool cleaner, to find out if your hips is level. So this is the shelf of your hip. So the soft spot of your midsection, that's the shelf. And put the back of your palms facing up, and hold a stick on top of it. And you'll find out, and look in front of the mirror, and find out if one of the pelvis is maybe higher or the other one is lower. So this will determine if your pelvis is high and low. So Then I'm gonna get a foam roller. So most of us have a foam roller at home. So I use a foam roller developed by the melt method. So it's a little bit softer and there's more give, and not like the one that we get from Target that's hard, and most people don't use it anyway because it's painful. So I use this and I'm gonna lay down on my back on the foam roller, and I'm gonna put my the foam roller just somewhere in the belt area, and I'm gonna put my leg into tabletop, just putting my hands up foam roller. My shoulder is down to the floor and not moving. So I'm gonna roll right to left, left to right. Then I'm gonna breathe, inhale into my nose, exhaling out with my mouth with pursed lips. Inhale, then exhale, and try to breathe slower, and even having a longer exhalation than your inhalation. That will try to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, so it will relax the muscle. So one thing, that's why the reason why we do this is we roll side to side. So basically there's a connected tissue in our hip area called the fascia. Actually, it's all over our bodies, and the fascia is like a sponge. So if you find a sponge, and especially a dry sponge, it's kind of brittle and hard. But if the sponge it's wet, it's very supple and pliable. So you want those tissues, your tissues, to be supple and pliable. That's why sometimes in the morning where we feel stiff, it's hard to walk, you start to stand up. But when you start moving, because the movement brings water to your fascia, now you feel better. So you're just accelerating that process by rolling on the roller. So I'm gonna do counterclockwise circle, or maybe 5 circles. Then breathe in, breathe out. Then clockwise. So you make sure that your shoulders are down on the floor. You're not moving your shoulders while doing this movement. Now do the left side. Inhale, exhale. Just concentrate on your breathing, and you might feel some tender spots in that area due to prolonged sitting, since most of our jobs require us to sit down for prolonged periods of time, and that hip tend to shorten and tighten. So this is one way to hydrate that tissue. Okay, then go back to center. Then just alternate toe tap. Imagine you're tapping on the top of an egg, so don't break any eggs. So it's a very light tap. And I'm keeping my knees in a right angle position. I'm not moving from my knee, I'm moving from my hip. So I'm rotating my pelvis. In our pelvis, it rotates forward and back, and the reason why one of the pelvis is higher is because one of the pelvis tightens up sometimes and goes into an anterior tilt, we call it. Okay, so next, put your hand in front of your thighs and try to pull your knees towards your shoulder. Then my hands are resisting it, just 30%. It doesn't have to be too strong. From this position, so keep that constant pressure. Then I want you to tuck and tilt. Take an inhale, then exhale, tuck. Inhale, tilt. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, tilt. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, tilt. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So I'll do like probably 30 seconds to a minute. And next one, I'm gonna press my my left heel down to the ground. And some of you might be cramping. We tend to cramp a lot because your glutes are not, working properly. So, or probably it's inhibited and your hamstring has to work harder. So just avoid too much pressure, but if you can, there's a slight pressure in the knee, pull it to my shoulder. Then I'm gonna do a tuck and tilt. So this is the one's gonna help rebalance your pelvis. Inhale, tilt, exhale, tuck. So if you find this difficult because of lack of coordination or lack of awareness with your body, sometimes we're kinesthetically challenged. Our head is disconnected with our body. So one way to do that is to connect with your pelvis is by sitting on a stability ball, those big sphere ball, and just do a tuck and tilt, because the ball will serve as a tactile as you tack and tilt. So there should be some movement in your pelvis when you're doing this. Then once you're done, take up the roller, get your stick to reassess, and hopefully it's going to be level. And there it goes, like magic. Strengthening your back is essential, but posture plays a huge role in keeping pain away. So in this video, we'll explore 3 reasons why posture is so important for baby boomers and how improving it can make a difference in your daily comfort and movement. Have you ever wondered if you have a healthy posture? Proper posture is essential for our overall well-being. And I'd like to share 3 reasons why it's especially important for baby boomers. We're also going to touch on what posture exactly means. So let's dive in. So what is good posture? Posture is how you sit or stand. Good posture positions the body correctly and makes sure your weight is evenly balanced. So that means the skeleton, muscles, and ligaments are not overstretched or strained. Posture refers to the alignment and positioning of the body. The anatomical position of the body is an erect posture with the face forward, arms at side, palms facing outward, and fingers and thumbs in extension. So how does the body remain upright, stable over a lifetime? How does our head and trunk remain aligned over this tiny base of support called feet? So how do we manage to balance when our feet are so small compared to the masses that balance over it? So like telling ourselves to keep your back straight, shoulder back, and tummy tucked in, it's not gonna work. Your grandma was right when she told you to keep a good posture, but the way to do it is more complex than that. So according to Thomas Myers in his book, Anatomy Trains, the skeleton is not what holds us up. Our stability isn't just from muscle and bones. We depend on fascia, which is a network of tissues, and the nervous system working together to keep us stable. Fascia stabilizes the body in all directions, while the nervous system sends messages between the brain and the body. To simplify the autonomic nervous systems, which is our regulator of stress, repair, and gut function, I call this the autopilot. I visited a friend in Sacramento, California recently. He drove me in his Tesla. It was amazing how he can remove his hand from the steering wheel while driving in city streets. So the Tesla has an autopilot. So we also have a built-in autopilot in our body. Simply, the autopilot defines the parts of your body that are trying to support, protect, and stabilize you without your conscious control. It functions like a GPS system, and it's always trying to keep a clear connection to your body's center of gravity in relationship with the rest of your joints to keep you balanced and stable. But unfortunately, daily living causes this autopilot to function less efficiently. That's why once in a while we need to calibrate this autopilot. Later on, I'm going to show you how to do that. The skeleton is not designed like a scaffolding. The main thing that keeps the body upright is in fact the fascia and the muscles, together with the nervous system. Together they make a dynamic network of tension like like the Eiffel Tower. Similar to the Statue of Liberty, behind those copper sheets are steel framework, similar to the Eiffel Tower. The engineer Gustav Eiffel later designed the Eiffel Tower. So to stand upright, small but constant adjustment in muscle tension and automatic balancing is constantly changing. So if we didn't do this, we would simply fall to the ground. Have you noticed that you can't stand up while you're asleep due to the lack of muscular tension? Another illustration is to think of the spine like the mass of a sailboat. In our back, there are ligaments and muscles which are tense, keeping the spine upright. In the middle of our back is have deep back extensors, which keep the sail from becoming wobbly. So it stabilizes the multiple segments of our spine. So here are 3 reasons posture is important for baby boomers. Number 1, reduces muscle and joint pain. Maintaining proper posture helps reduce unnecessary strain on muscles and joints. Poor posture, on the other hand, can lead to chronic pain and discomfort, particularly in the neck, shoulder, back, and knees. For baby boomers who may already experience age-related stiffness and discomfort, proper posture is a natural way to alleviate these issues without relying too heavily on medication. Number 2, improves respiratory function. Good posture impacts our respiratory function. Sitting or standing in an upright position allows the lungs to expand more fully, improving oxygen intake versus elevation breathing up in our neck and shoulders, causing pain and tightness. So this is crucial for baby boomers, as efficient lung function supports the overall energy and mental clarity. Poor posture, in contrast, compresses the lungs, makes it breathing more difficult, which can worsen existing health problems. Number 3, it can boost your confidence and mental health. Finally, good posture can positively influence mental well-being. An upright posture can exude confidence, vitality. Studies show that sitting and standing upright can improve mood, reduce stress, and increase confidence levels. So for baby boomers, maintaining a positive mental outlook is key to enjoying their retirement and other social activities. So how do we improve our posture? Number 1 is awareness. Be aware of your posture. Regularly check how you sit and stand throughout the day. Number 2, exercise. Engaging in exercise that strengthens core muscles can improve posture, like Pilates is very effective. So the emphasis of Pilates is on the core and conscious breathing. Number 3, ergonomics. Ensure that your living and workspace are ergonomically optimized. Chairs, desks, and even the bed should support proper alignment. Our eyes should be level with the computer screen. Your legs should be parallel with the floor when sitting. Number 4, professional help. Sometimes, consulting a fitness professional or Pilates instructor for personalized advice can be very beneficial. So, in summary, maintaining good posture is vital for reducing muscles and joint pain and improving respiratory function and boosting mental health. So, for baby boomers who are navigating these physical challenges that comes with age, these are some essential benefits to maintain a high quality of life. So, your grandma is correct. Posture is truly important. So, in this video, I'm going to show you an exercise how to improve your posture. But first, we need to assess your posture, where you're at. So we're gonna be laying down on your back on the mat and try to feel the masses and spaces of your body. The masses are the one touching the mat, and the spaces, the places that are touching the mat. So you're scanning your body from your head all the way to your toe. And in my head, I can feel my head touching the mat. The spaces behind my neck is touching the mat. And try to observe your shoulder. Do you feel your shoulder blades touching the mat or your ribs? Your ribs are more in your bra line or bro line. And try to determine. So what we're looking for are stuck stress. These are, we call stuck stress. These are the ones that make your autopilot inefficient because of life and stress. So ideally, it should be more ribs rather than the shoulders. So and try not to fidget and just kind of relax and try not to move. Now try to scan your um, behind your belly button. So if you take one finger and put your finger in your belly button and try to feel where the space is. Is it above your belly button or below the belly button? And for me, I feel like a little bit above the belly button. Okay, so there's a little bit of stuck stress there. And if you scan your hip area, your butt area, do you feel one of your butt cheeks is more heavy on the mat, or it's pretty even? Do you feel more your butt cheeks or your more center, more the tailbone? Ideally, more butt cheeks, but if you feel more tailbone, that means there's some stuck stress in that area. And try to scan your legs. Does your thighs touch the mat? Is it most of the part of the back of your thigh touching the mat? Or one side is touching more than the other? And also scan your arms. Do you feel one side is heavier and one side is lighter? I feel heavier on my right side right now, heavier on my hip area as well. So those are my stuck stress. And even your head, do you feel your neck is straining back this way um, rather than weighted on your forehead? And try to turn your head. Do you feel any pain when you turn your head or any restriction? I feel pain on both of my side because of my martial arts, jiu-jitsu, some strain there in my neck. So then we'll compare later on how it works. So I'm gonna have you lay down on a roller. So this is a roller by the Melt Method. I'll give you the link below on Amazon. So it's a different type of foam roller. It's a little bit more squishy. It can bend and it's soft. So this is the only one in the market. I feel it's very soft and it's not too painful for your body, and so you can be able to activate your autonomic nervous system more in the rest and digest rather than fight or flight. So make sure your head is on resting on the roller and your tailbone, and just breathe regularly, slow breathing, and just rock back and forth, right to left. I would inhale in my nose, then exhale with my mouth. So if there's a line from my head connected to my torso and my hip, so it's moving together. So we're trying to reset your natural GPS of our body. Remember the natural GPS or our autopilot, it always tries to find its center of gravity. So by moving right to left, left to right, it will stimulate that autopilot. And just breathe in, breathe out, relax. Just about 30 seconds to a minute. So the next one is just, you're gonna tilt your pelvis. So make a triangle. and put it on top of your pelvis. Then take an inhale. Then on the exhale, slowly, gently tilt the pelvis. So I just want you to tilt the pelvis. I don't want you to put any pressure on your heels, pushing your or squeezing your glutes or activating your glutes. I just want you to focus on tilting the pelvis. So if you're squeezing your glutes or pushing against your feet, so that's wrong. So I just want you to tilt gently as you exhale. And since your hands are on top of your pelvis, so you might shake a little bit. My feet are pretty much hip width apart. So the tendency, you want to make your feet wider to balance. So I want you to be more hip width apart. So to find hip width, just marching, if you march your feet, you'll find your hip width. And breathe in, breathe out. So same thing, we're trying to stimulate that natural GPS in our body to find its center of gravity. So this is governed by your autonomic nervous system. It's not under your conscious control. So next one, I want you to put your one hand on your chest, upper chest, one hand on your belly, and just breathe together. The belly and the chest should rise together. So I should breathe in. It goes up together, then breathe out. Breathe in. Then breathe out. Breathe in. Then breathe out. One more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Very slow breath. Next one is the three-dimensional breath. So I want you to put your hand in your ribs. So you should feel your rib expand as you breathe in, and the back will expand behind your ribs. So three-dimensionals, the side and back of your ribs. So I want you to breathe in. Feel your back expand and to the side and back. Breathe in. And breathe out. So your ribs are like slinkies, those toys that expand, then on an accordion. Do a couple more. Last one. You'll feel more relaxed. So the next one, I want you to breathe down and up. So you're gonna breathe down to your diaphragm, all the way to your pelvic floor. Then, so one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. So as you inhale, the belly should rise first. Then on the exhale, I want you to make an SH sound. So take an inhale. The belly will rise first before the chest. Then on the exhale, make an SH sound. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. The next one, I want you to make an S sound. Inhale. So you want to squeeze every out of your lungs, and hold that squeeze and feel that core engage. Again, inhale, exhale. It's like a deflating balloon, then squeeze every air out. One more. Oh, hold. Okay, the next one, make an HA sound. Like take an inhale, then take an inhale. You're creating that vibration. It's going to relax all your tissue. Inhale. Then slowly move away from the roller. Put the roller down to the ground. And we're going to reassess your body, how it looks like. And try to feel how your back is, your ribs is closing, your brow line is closer to the ground, it's touching now. A while ago it was like your shoulder blades. My lower back is now down. It's now below my navel. I can feel more butt cheeks on the ground. My hips, I feel more evenly weighted. My arms are evenly weighted. My neck doesn't feel strained. I feel more pressure on my forehead. So that means I'm lined up. My posture is more centered. So this is one great exercise you could do from home using a foam roller. So if you don't have a foam roller, you could also roll a towel, a thick towel that you could lie down on and do the same exercise, just like the video. So hopefully this will improve your posture and listen to your grandma. Having a great posture is important. You've made amazing progress so far. For our final segment, we're putting it all together with exercises specifically designed for those over 60. These moves are simple and effective for reducing back pain and keeping you moving freely every day. Do you suffer from ongoing back pain? One important but often overlooked muscle is the pelvic floor. So, what is the pelvic floor? The pelvic floor is like a hammock or a sling. It provides support to our pelvic organs, much like a trampoline. It helps manage bladder and bowel functions. It gives stability to your spine and pelvis. It even plays a role in our sexual pleasure. So you want this hammock or trampoline to be just right, neither too tight nor too loose. Many of us are not in tune with this muscle, which can lead to issues with the pelvic floor. Some reasons for pelvic floor troubles are the following. One is a lack of overall fitness and muscle strength, carrying extra weight, slouching and sitting too much, pregnancy and childbirth, recovering from surgeries or prostate or episiotomy, injuries to the pelvis, hips, or spine, hormonal shifts, high-impact workout routines. So the first step is becoming aware of this pelvic floor. You should be able to sense the feeling of this muscle. The pelvic floor teams up with your diaphragm, and the diaphragm is at the bottom of our lungs. So when we breathe in, this muscle moves downward and the pelvic floor then follows suit. Diaphragm, just like breathing, also plays a big part and puts a huge impact in our overall health. It plays a crucial role in how you sit and stand. So let's start by understanding and strengthening these essential muscles for a healthier body. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 therapeutic Pilates exercises to activate your pelvic floor. So you'll be needing a squishy ball. This is a squishy ball by Tune-Up Fitness. I'm going to give you the link below. And I want you to sit on the ball and kind of adjust your sit bones to spread out your sit bones so you're on top of the squishy ball. So you could use any other balls at home, but just let go of some of the air so it's a little bit soft. So crisscross your leg and sit in a neutral spine. So your back is has a natural curve. Your head is on top of your shoulders, and just breathe in, breathe out. Take an inhale, then take an exhale. So when you inhale, remember, when you inhale, the diaphragm goes down, the pelvic floor relaxes. Then as you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes, the pelvic floor contracts. So I want you to feel and have an awareness of the pelvic floor. So most of us were not in tune with where our pelvic floor is at. So this is the first thing we need to do, is to be aware of the pelvic floor. So take an inhale, then exhale. Inhale, exhale. So as you inhale, you should feel your pelvic floor opening, relaxing under you. Then as you exhale, feel it pulling in. So that's one way to be aware of your pelvic floor, and you could do that for 8 repetitions and for 8 counts. Next one is I want you to have some movement. So what you're going to do is I want you to take an inhale. As you inhale, lift your chest to the ceiling. Then as you exhale, rounding your back. Inhale, extending your spine to the ceiling. Then exhale. So having the ball underneath your pelvis helps to give you some tactile, and just to be aware of your pelvic floor. We'll do a couple more. Take an inhale, widen your collarbone, then exhale. Then do that for 8 counts. Another pelvic floor exercise is laying down supine on your back. So your feet are hip width apart. So to find hip width, if you march your leg where it falls, that's your hip width. Put the ball between your knees. Then take an inhale. Then exhale, elevate your hips. Then squeeze the ball once. Feel the glutes engage, your inner thighs engage. Then slowly lower your spine, 1 vertebra at a time. So create that sequential articulation. So take an inhale. Shorten those obliques. Then exhale. Then squeeze twice. Then slowly articulate your spine from your thoracic down to your tailbone. So make sure you don't jam your back against the mat. You're just melting your back on the mat. Inhale to imprint. Then exhale. Then squeeze. You feel your glutes, your hamstring, opening up the hips, then slowly lower your spine. and do that for another 8 counts. So remember in the beginning, I mentioned about the diaphragm, which works in conjunction with the pelvic floor. So a lot of us, if we tend to sit down for prolonged periods, maybe in front of a computer, we tend to develop some dysfunctional breath pattern. Instead of the diaphragm going down when we inhale, we tend to push it up. So this will help to feel your diaphragm goes down rather than up to your chest. So put the ball just under your ribs and relax your shoulder. Then I want you to breathe in and feel the rib, the lower rib, your right rib, pushing against the ball as you inhale. Then exhale. Take an inhale. Exhale. I'll do like 8 counts. And let's do the left side. And you might feel one side might be tighter, or one side is there's more space. Again, take an inhale. Then exhale. So I can feel my rib really pushing down against the ball. Especially when you're breathing in deep. So if you don't exercise those intercostal muscle, the muscle between your ribs, they tend to be short and less mobile. So practicing deep breathing helps to open that up. Another way too is, so these are all bonus, so it's more than 3 exercises I'm giving you, but might as well. So I want you to lay down with your arms out. So this is great for, so if your head is still off the floor, I suggest put a towel underneath, so you're not straining your neck. So I put the ball somewhere between my mid back. Then breathe in, breathe out. Take an inhale. So I'll just do it for 8 counts. So these are great exercises after a long day in front of the computer, so you're all crunching, and so you want to open up your chest, open up your airway. So it helps to give tactile for your breathing, so you could really feel the ribs expanding and contracting. So those are some exercises to connect with your pelvic floor and also your diaphragm. Great job completing this marathon. You now have the tools to strengthen your back, improve your posture, and feel your best. Remember, there are timestamps in the description so you can easily come back to the exercises or tips that work best for you. If you're ready for the next step in staying safe and active, don't miss my free ebook, Easy 3-Step Guide to Prevent Falls. Falls are a leading cause of injuries as we age, but they're preventable with simple strategies. You can start today. Click the link in the description to download your copy and take control of your mobility and independence. Here's to a stronger and more confident you.